Let the romance reading begin. He's like a young Ron Swanson. Well, fuck. I thought I'd matured, honestly, but I clearly haven't. Just received an Amazon parcel. That was so good. I'm obsessed with this now. Loved it so much. So I'm really excited for this week because recently I feel like I have just been reading fantasy back to back and like some chunky epic fantasy stuff, and I need a little bit of a palette cleanse. I normally don't really refer to other genres as palette cleanses from fantasy because while I do predominantly read fantasy, I also read a ton of romance, a little bit sci-fi, thrillers. I read a mix, and normally I intersperse them so I'm not reading so much of like the same genre back to back, but I've just read so much adult epic fantasy back to back recently that my brain just needs a bit of a break. I need to read things where I don't need to think so much while I'm reading. So I'm just going to be reading romance this week, and while I have read some romance this year, I'm pretty sure it's all been fantasy romance. I don't think I've read any contemporary romance. So I want my real feel-good fluffy rom-coms with like super good sexual tension and angst, and it's just what I'm in the mood for. I'm going to be starting off with my first ever Tessa Bailey book, which is It Happened One Summer. I am so excited to try out Tessa Bailey. I've heard amazing things, especially about this book. I wanted to read Tessa Bailey for a little while since I've been dipping my toes into contemporary romance more. I've heard good things about, I don't think it's Fix Her Up, but I think it's a book in that series, which was recommended by Chelsea Dolan Reads a while ago, like I think a couple of years ago. But no, I think it was Fix Her Up that I heard really good things about. And then there was a sequel to that one, which is Love Her or Lose Her, which I remember people talking about as well. But the reason why I have this one was a gift for Christmas from Lamia, so thank you so much, Lamia, for gifting this one to me. I'm really excited. But this one was specifically recommended to me by Aaron from Booked and Busy, who I have very similar reading taste to, and I definitely trust her romance recommendations. So this is the first book in the Bellinger Sisters series, and we're following this party girl called Piper who's cut off by her stepfather and sent to this fishing town where she meets this really grumpy fisherman. So I think it's going to be a Grumpy Sunshine romance, which I probably have read. Yeah, no, I've definitely read that before because I've read At Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, which was my least favorite in that series. I don't love illustrated covers, like I don't really have a preference with romance covers, but some illustrated ones kind of ruin my reading of the book because I'm such a visual reader, and if I don't like the illustration on the front or the way the characters are portrayed, it affects how they appear in my brain. And with a romance, like, that actually matters to me. But this guy, like, how could I not want to read this? So I have this one, and then I'm definitely going to be reading another Tessa Bailey book in this vlog because I was sent a copy of Hookline and Sinker by Harper 360. So this one is the second book in the Bellinger Sisters series, and this one is following who I'm assuming is Piper's sister Hannah, who meets a playboy fisherman. Like, he's a little bit of a ladies man, and he is interested in her, but she just wants to be friends. So because he doesn't want to jeopardize his friendship with her, he doesn't pursue her and decides to just be friends with her. So I'm guessing it's like a friends to lovers. I'm really excited for both of these. They're a little bit chunky for contemporary romance, but I mean, I'm gonna fly through them. So I'm kicking off with this one. The release date on this one is March. I think it's around, is it today? Maybe. But I think Steph from Steph Loves told me that the ebook is being released in March and the paperback is only being released in April. Let the romance reading begin.
I got my head out the sunroof, I'm blasting our favorite tunes. I only got one thing on my mind. You got me stuck on the thought of you. You're making me feel brand new. You're more than a sunshine in my eyes. You got those pretty eyes in your head, you know it. You got me dancing in my bed, so let me show it.
I'm approaching the halfway point in It Happened One Summer. I'm on page 166. I'm not sure that I'm loving it. I'm not hating it. I'm just not sure that I'm loving it right now. I will say that the romance has like barely kicked in at this point, so there's potential for me to end up loving it later on, but I'm not feeling it as much as I thought I would at this point that I'm at so far. So our main character in this one is essentially an it girl called Piper, and she's not old, she's 28, but she's old considering like she's making her living in LA as like a party girl, and she gets dumped by a guy. It's her longest relationship ever at 3 weeks, and it's like publicly at this big event with celebrities there. So she breaks into a hotel pool and throws this massive party, gets arrested, and her stepfather sends her to the town of Westport, which is on the coast where she was born and her mother and father lived before her biological father died. So she walks into this quaint fishing town, and I kind of know what this is like because she's come from LA, which I don't understand that experience of coming from such a large, like, glamorous city, but going to this tiny little tourist trap in the middle of nowhere where there's like everybody knows each other and all of that stuff, and it's just like a big culture shock for her and her sister Hannah, who goes with her. And as soon as she arrives, she meets this big gruff crab fisherman called Brendan, who is very set in his ways. He has set routines, he eats the same things from the restaurants that he goes to, and he's just like a real like sturdy masculine guy. And these two are attracted to each other even though they're very different. Like Piper is very, did I call her Pippa before? Because I do keep doing that in my head. But Piper is very like spontaneous, and he is very like just reliable and sturdy, you know. He's like a young Ron Swanson. Gruff fisherman vibes I really thought I'd love, and I am enjoying them. Especially there's part in the book where he's building something and I'm just over here swooning. Like the man's putting together like a patio with his hands, and I'm just like keeling over on the floor over here because he's building stuff. But I'm not sure I vibe with them as a couple. Like I'm not feeling that much tension between them. There's elements of it that I'm enjoying. There's a scene with Piper and a tray of shots. If you read this book, I did laugh through that. Like it was a terrible situation, but I laughed. So I'm finding it funny as well, but I'm not like 100% into it, you know. I do plan on reading like a good chunk of this tonight, so we'll see if I warm up to it, and I'm excited for the romance to like kick in properly. I will say it's a little bit predictable as well. Like she goes to this town where her father's from and her mother was from originally, and the locals like knew her father and stuff, and they're saying like she should do this, she should go see this person, and there's a couple of things that have happened so far that have been reveals that I've thought have been obvious since they were first mentioned. But I mean, it is romance, so I mean a little bit of predictability is pretty much guaranteed. But yeah, we'll see how the second half of this one goes. So I know that I said that I wasn't feeling this at around page 165, but I'm now on page 213, and the stakes have risen a little bit higher in terms of the plot, and that bit, the whole high stakes situation that's going on at the minute, I'm into it, I'm enjoying it. So maybe I will like this after all.
Kinda cool and kinda not, wanna give myself to you. Yeah, we're driving down the freeway at night. I only got one thing in the back of my mind.
Well, fuck. Still can't confirm. I do definitely have the Rona. I woke up with a sore throat yesterday. The kind of like, you know, if you've slept with your mouth open the entire night and the back and the roof of your mouth is so dry that it feels like it's about to crack. It felt like that, and I just thought, oh well, I probably did sleep with my mouth open all night. And then I woke up yesterday and it was still really sore, and I was also a bit sniffly, so I was like, you know what, let's just do a lateral flow. We've got a few hanging around. I have the Rona. So I'm feeling all right. Like I'm very congested and my throat does still hurt, and I'm feeling like mildly fatiguey, but at this point not even as bad as I would be with like a general cold, you know, like when you fully get a cold. So I have come up to bed because I'm feeling quite tired now, but I don't have a fever. I'm a normal temperature. I can taste and I can smell, and I'm not coughing either. So fingers crossed, if it stays like this, then I should be fine. The main thing that's concerning me right now is that I have medical anxiety, so I'm more wary of my anxiety regarding having this as opposed to like the actual illness itself. The annoying thing as well is that I'm not quite sure where I got it from. I haven't been anywhere major, anywhere incredibly busy over the last like 7 days, so I think I've got it from somewhere like really mundane, like the shop or something, but fingers crossed it will pass. And I'm just gonna take this opportunity to rest up and read a whole ton of books. But yeah, this fucking sucks. I had so many fun things I wanted to do next week, and I've cancelled everything. So it is 3 minutes past 7. My restock was at 7 and the bundles are already gone. I'm shook. This is the biggest launch I've ever done. and I'm nearly out of everything already. And just like that, we're all gone. So I have Sprint starting in 10 minutes, but I just finished It Happened One Summer. I gave it 3 stars, which I really wasn't expecting. I don't think I like Tessa Bailey's writing. It's really hard to explain, especially with something like, I feel like romance is a very subjective genre to read, and there can be nothing wrong with the book, but it just might not hit you in the way that romance is like designed to hit you. And with like the spicy scenes in here, like there are quite a few, and some of them I enjoyed, but I remember the first one specifically, I wasn't feeling it with the way it was written. There's only certain instances where I can stomach the love interest calling like the female protagonist baby. Like, baby is just not it for me, and it only works in certain instances, and I didn't like it in this. I just thought they were a bit pathetic, both of them, to be honest. The declarations of love in here that were going on, I found them to be a bit cringe. I don't know what's wrong with me. Expected to adore this, and yeah, some of it just had me really rolling my eyes, but then some of it was good, and I do think that the love interest is really hot. I just don't feel like there was enough maybe sexual tension. I like a nice slow build up with really good tension. I wasn't feeling that in here, and I didn't really feel the chemistry between the two of them. Piper was okay, not my favorite main character to follow, but she definitely had some development and growth throughout here. I did really like the setting, and he was really hot, but together they just didn't work for me. So now I'm going into Hookline and Sinker, and obviously I knew that this was a series, it's the Bellinger sisters series, but I'm guessing it's just a duology, because unless we have like an estranged sibling about to come out of the woodwork, there's only 2 sisters, Hannah and Piper, so I would assume that this is the last book in the duology. And I'm interested to see what I think of this one, because while I didn't mind following Piper in It Happened One Summer, like I said, she's not my favorite kind of main character to follow. I think I'm gonna really get on with Hannah, but then in terms of love interests, Brendan is more to my taste than Fox is, so I think it's going to be interesting. This one is a Friends to Lovers, as I said earlier. I do have a little bit more context on this now because I've met Hannah and Fox in It Happened One Summer, but essentially Hannah has a job back in LA. She's gone to Westport with her sister, but she has a job and a guy who I think might be her boss at home, and she likes the tortured artist type, and Fox is like a ladies man, so she just wants to be friends with him, and he kind of plays along with it because he doesn't want to ruin their friendship. But also he doesn't typically date women from Westport, he just has flings like in Seattle, so I don't think a committed relationship is his normal thing either. So I'm gonna be starting this one sprint start in 6 minutes. Let's see if I like it a little bit more than It Happened One Summer.
Feeling like this might be my time to shine with you, with you, with you. I got my head out the sunroof, I'm blasting our favorite tunes. I only got one thing on my mind.
Oh my god, I am 108 pages into Hookline and Sinker, and I am enjoying this so much more than It Happened One Summer. I can't believe that I for 1 second thought that the rugged fisherman was going to be more my type than the pretty fuckboy fisherman, because like I know myself, I thought I'd matured honestly, but I clearly haven't. I would like the rugged fisherman to be my type, but it's just not the case honestly. Like a charmer with some swagger and a smirk, I just I'm dead. I'm on the floor. So this is Friends to Lovers, and I know a lot of people don't like Friends to Lovers, but I really love it. My only issue with it is that it has to be done a certain way, because it kind of feels like a cheat if the friendship is already well established, so you're kind of expected to believe it at the beginning of the book, but then obviously it takes too long if you have to establish the friendship in a way that it makes it believable and then turn it into a romance. So something that's really cool about this is that you already have an introduction to the characters in It Happened One Summer, so even though you didn't necessarily follow any of their perspectives and see their relationship built that way, you know how their friendship kind of started, you saw them meet, and the beginning of this book is in text messages, and I knew from these text messages that are the first 15 pages, I was like, I'm going to love this, and I was right so far. The mutual pining because it's Friends to Lovers, amazing. I think Brendan in It Happened One Summer seemed kind of like an old man. Like when I said he's a younger, hotter Ron Swanson, that is exactly the vibe that he was giving me, and it reminded me of Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, where like I'm not a huge fan of age gaps, and even though I don't think there was really an age gap, or like not a significant one in It Happened One Summer, it felt like there was because of the differences in the characters, and I just wasn't about it, but I'm loving this. I'm posting an emoji poll for
my patrons, so I thought I'd just walk you guys through the options if I can remember what they are. So this one is Undercover Bromance. We have The Hating Game. I think this one is Love and Other Disasters. That is it Delilah Green Doesn't Care? The Donut Trap. What the fuck is this one? How to date Keanu Reeves in however many days, something like that. It's a book of the month one that I have. That one's Dating Dr. Dill, and that one is The Bride Test. So I'm gonna post this one now, and when I finish Hookline and Sinker, which is over here, we'll see what wins.
You're making me feel brand new. You're more than a sunshine in my eyes. I got my head out the sunroof.
Just received, and that's so fucking loud with the windows open. Nah, I'd be right. It's just because I'm speaking so quietly because of my throat that I'm like, can you guys hear me? But I just received an Amazon parcel. See what's in here. I don't know. I don't think I ordered anything. Maybe I did in my delirium. Who sent me this? Ash. Because you had Dang Get Me book one, you always deserve everything. My stepdaughter from the lover of Daddy King, Ash. Oh my god. The stepdaughter thing, Ash really fancies my father. It's like a whole weird situation, but Ash sent me The Name of All Things by Jen Lyons, which is a sequel to Ruin of Kings. I have a Waterstones gift card, which I was planning on spending in Leeds next week, but because now I've got COVID, I'm not going. I was just filling my basket on Waterstones to check out with that gift card, and this was like number one on my list of things that I was gonna buy. So thank you so much, Ash. If you want to know what this is about, it's the sequel to Ruin of Kings, but I will link last week's vlog where I read book one in this series. Oh my god, you're too kind. Finished Hookline and Sinker. I've blasted through this today. It's 350 pages and I was on page 120 this morning, but it was so good, like so much better than it happened one summer. Just a fox, like, oh my god. I wish The Rugged Fisherman was my type, but like A Pretty Lady's Man with daddy issues is definitely more my speed. So yeah, I'm gonna say that this is 5 stars. I haven't compiled it yet. I'm honestly so fucking tired. I have been out of bed today as well, only for an hour, but still I have actually dragged myself up at least once today. But I'm so sleepy. I've been sleepy for a couple of hours, but I really wanted to finish this, so I think I'm gonna nap for a couple of hours and then see what I'm picking up next. That was so good. It was so good. Okay, let's check in on this poll. So, oh, The Donut Trap's in at 37. It is definitely giving number one a run for its money, but the winner is The Hating Game with 40 votes. I'm so happy because I really want to watch the movie, and I feel like my COVID brain will be thankful. Good morning. I've dragged myself out of bed for a little bit of a change of scenery for this vlog, and also just to move around a little bit. But The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. So this one is an office romance about two people who have the same job. So they work for this publishing company that used to be two separate companies. When the companies merged, both of the CEOs became co-CEOs and they hate each other, so they can't agree on anything, and they kept each of their assistants, which are the main characters of this book, Lucy and Joshua. But the two companies were very different. The two CEOs hate each other, and Lucy and Josh absolutely despise each other. So I am 76 pages into it, and I was unsure for like the first 50-ish, 60-ish pages whether I was going to enjoy it, because the writing style was not what I expected it to be. It's pretty much entirely short, sharp sentences of Lucy narrating the days and how she's feeling about Josh and what Josh is doing, down to the minute detail. Like, they have really petty games that they play with each other where they just stare at each other for hours to see which one is going to break first, and she narrates what day it is based on the color of shirt that he wears, because he has a whole range of different shirts that he wears on a rotation, so she always knows like what color shirt he's going to be wearing the next day, and that's how she tells us like what day it is. But took me by surprise because I was like, I wasn't getting chemistry between them, and the hating was kind of like, it didn't feel fiery to me, because it was all just like short, sharp, like this is what he's doing today, this is what he's done wrong, like we're staring at each other kind of thing. Then I got a hint of how it's going to turn romantic, and my interest has been piqued. I'm really excited to continue. So I've done like an hour of tidying around, breaking down boxes. I even straightened my hair just to make myself feel like a little bit more of a real human instead of like a growly bed goblin. But I think I'm gonna go get a shower. I'm not gonna wash my hair though, because I just straightened this, and get back in bed and read some more. I'm also gonna do a bit of design work today, I think, because I've been feeling lately like I just wanted to dedicate a few hours to sitting down and designing, doodling, without kind of doing it alongside something else, because I normally do it while I'm watching TV. So I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to learn a few new things as well and try some things out. So I think I might alternate for some of the day between reading this and drawing. I'm obsessed with this now. I'm really loving it. I'm 220 pages in, still aiming to finish it today, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to, because I just can't put it down. It's obviously hate to love, which is one of my favorite tropes, like hate to love, enemies to lovers, but something that I'm really enjoying in this. I've kind of noticed that it's a problem in other romances that I've read, but I haven't really thought too much about it. But something that I really love about this book is that he's making her work for it. And a lot of the romances I've read and admittedly loved recently, like, oh, not recently, just contemporary romance in general of the last year, I guess, is, for example, like the Brown Sisters series by Talia Hibbert, and also these ones, is that the guy worships the woman. Like, she can do no wrong. Like, he's already fallen for her and he's just waiting for her to come around. Anything that she says, like, he will do. Like, he is hooked. He is just waiting for her to say the word. And in this one, like, Josh is really making Lucy work for it. I mean, the worshipping angle is nice as well, because, like, who doesn't want to be worshipped? But I mean, I personally love the chase, and I like the push and pull and the give and take, and like, I want her to make him work for it as well, but I like that he's also making her work for it, and that is really doing it for me. This book is so hot. Like, I am obsessed, and I'm so excited to watch the movie later. I needed a bit of a hit, you know, so I have rewatched the trailer, and I still think that that trailer is the worst and just tells you the entire plot. I think I know what the third act breakup is going to be and like why that happens in this book, which is fine. And I also think I know something that Josh is hiding. Like, I feel like I clocked onto it as soon as it was mentioned. Like, there is some things that this book is doing that's like pretty obvious, like think about Josh that I've just mentioned, and also the fact that they don't hate each other for very long at all, and it's real obvious. Like, she's reading into stuff and it's like, oh, he's trying to sabotage me, and I'm like, girl, he's not. Like, girl, he never hated you for a second. Like, you need to calm your tits. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, so I'm gonna go back to that now. I can't turn myself away. I was gonna do, like I said earlier, some doodling and stuff and design work today. No, because I can't put this down. So this could completely be the COVID brain talking. But I've just finished The Hating Game and I am obsessed. Obsessed. 5 stars. I could read this 10,000 times and still be obsessed. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about this romance specifically. Definitely going to be in my best books of the year list. I don't know why. I mean, it has loads of tropes that I love. It has hate to love, like enemies to lovers. It also has pining in it. And I don't want to say too much about either this or Hookline and Sinker. But if you guys have read this and Hookline and Sinker, you will know that there is a very similar issue that both of the love interests, Fox and Josh, have, which I don't know why that's doing it for me, but it really is. So if you can recommend me any more books where the love interest has the same issue that Josh and Fox do, then let me know, because I've loved both of these books this week. But this one, oh my god, loved it so much. Oh my god. It was so good, guys. It was so good. I just want to reread it already. I think I am going to watch the movie. I'm going to text Curtis tonight. We're in the last leg of the Buffy watch along. But I'm going to text Curtis and see if he wants to watch it tonight. He said he'd watch it with me. Because, like, literally, I'm ready to go. I do know from watching the trailer earlier that they've changed the central conflict, or like the main conflict for the movie. Which I kind of get why they've done it. Makes a bit of sense. But also really annoying, because like fucking Josh Templeman, Jesus Christ, it could just be the high of finishing a good romance, you know. I might eat my words, it could be COVID brain, but I love this book so much.
So now I'm trapped here day after endless day, all alone with my one maniacal nemesis.
Okay, so I just this second finished watching the movie and I did really enjoy it. Like, it was good, especially because I pretty much binged the book in its entirety today and then just gone straight into the movie. So it was really good to have like a side-by-side comparison with like no gap in between. And I did enjoy the movie because it brought the characters and some of the scenes to life, which obviously is the intention. But I do think that the book is way better. The movie isn't particularly short. It's like, including credits, it's an hour and 43 minutes, I think. But it very much felt like a speed run, and towards the end they swapped the order of a couple of scenes around. Didn't like how the movie ended. I feel like the ending of the movie was weak. It's weird because like in terms of a movie, if they would have followed the structure of the book, then it would have been like real anticlimactic, because it did feel fast. That always happens when we're talking about book to movie adaptations. But there's a key point that I can't talk about because it's a spoiler, but the reason why I love that book so much is because of like a key point. And they did include the scene that has the key point, but I don't feel like the emphasis on it and the significance of it was accurately portrayed in the movie. I feel like it felt like a very surface level rom-com where the book just hit different, you know, like it hit me differently anyway. And then there's also just like they cut a lot of the romance scenes from the book, or like time when the characters were getting to know each other, which once again understand why it was abbreviated for a movie format. But they did cut a scene from the book where they talk about the reasons why they're constantly bickering and like competing against each other at work, and the reasoning behind that for each of them, which I feel like is a key part of the story, like the reasons why they're doing what they're doing, that they just didn't include in the movie. So I don't know, it lacked depth for me that I thought was contained in the book, because like don't get me wrong, the book is like a romance, it's a rom-com, but I feel like it had a lot of depth and a lot of heart that they didn't convey properly in the movie. And in terms of the casting, Lucy Hill, perfect as Lucy, and I think Austin Stowell did a really good job with Josh as well. Like I wouldn't say he's perfect, but then obviously like it's a very subjective opinion, but I do think he did an amazing job, and I believed them individually as their characters, but I do feel like they lacked a little bit of chemistry, and the book is like way hotter. Like the sexual tension in the book is fire. So if you've watched the movie and you haven't read the book, would definitely recommend. I loved it so much more. That being said, I did still enjoy the movie, and I'm gonna rewatch it again tomorrow. So yeah, thought I'd add in my thoughts on the movies to the end of this vlog. Curtis went to bed because I think he's actually catching COVID now. He's not feeling too good and he was tired, and I say bed, he's sleeping in the attic so that he's away from me to minimize his chances of catching COVID. But he didn't watch it with me, and I didn't want to wait till tomorrow because I want to wrap this vlog up here. But as I've just read The Hating Game, I wanted to make sure I told you my thoughts on the movie, so I'm just gonna watch it again tomorrow. I'm actually gonna go downstairs and get the book because I'm feeling hyped. I'm feeling hyped, but it's really late and I need to get some sleep because I'm going to do some work tomorrow. But before I do that, I'm going to go get the book, and I don't know whether to just start rereading it from scratch or just reread the last chapter. I think I'll start with reading the last chapter today and see how I feel tomorrow, because it's been a while since I've loved a book this much. The last book that I loved so much that I wanted to go back and reread it immediately was probably Crescent City. But that brings us to the end of this reading vlog. Thank you for coming on this ride with me. The week got derailed halfway through, like did not see that coming. But next week it is the mini magical readathon, the week-long round, and I'm also doing the next installment of my unhaul project. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, then please stay tuned. But aside from that, guys, I do hope you've enjoyed this vlog. If you've made it this far, if you have, don't forget to like if you liked it, subscribe if you wanna, and read The Hating Game for clear skin, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.